listening to Cinemajaw, the greatest movies podcast ever, recorded on location from Cinemajaw Studios in Chicago. My name is Matt Kay, and with me is...
Rye, the movie guy. And sitting to my left is KP.
Hello! I love that we are never this energized to start a show.
I know.
What are you talking about? Of course we are. Every week, man.
This one had like some extra oomph and some extra pizzazz.
I agree. It started with Matt Kay. I think that's because you're on your third or fourth LaCroix already. What are you doing over there, man?
There's no caffeine in these, you know.
Oh, there's not.
But there is black raspberry, okay?
Did you think there was caffeine in them?
I have no idea. I'm not a LaCroix guy.
It's just sparkling water, man.
It says on the can, naturally essenced.
Why you want it sparkling if it's in a can?
I just like something fizzy once in a while. Why are we talking about sparkling water?
I don't know, because you came out of this podcast. You just came out like you were shot out of a cannon, right?
Yeah. Hey.
It was great.
And then that got me excited. It got KP excited. So here we are.
Well, you're welcome.
Yeah. Well, this week on Cinemajaw, Matt, talk about getting excited.
I'm always excited, Ryan. What are we going to talk about?
We're going to talk about the Oscars.
Oh, hell yeah.
We're 1 week technically early, but next week we got Dune, and we're probably going to do something big with that. So we thought, let's do the Oscar predictions and go over who we want to win and who likely is going to win.
I'm ready for that.
With that. And plus, 3 big reviews, which technically makes it
Review-O-Rama.
Yeah, we got Upgraded. And
that's actually the name of the movie.
yeah,
We didn't get upgraded.
No,
yeah.
But there's a movie on Amazon Prime entitled Upgraded. Also, Drive Away Dolls. And Matt put me to the test after I said I had never seen Dream
Nightmare on Elm
Warriors,
Street 3, yeah.
which is Nightmare on Elm Street 3. I corrected that. I've watched it. Matt rewatched it. We will have a discussion of Nightmare on Elm Street 3 all the way back from 1987.
Good for you, by the way.
I enjoyed it.
I'm proud of you, Ryan.
Spoiler alert, I enjoyed it.
Good. Oh, well,
Who
it's a
wouldn't?
foregone conclusion.
There you
Only
go.
an asshole wouldn't.
No guest this week, but we will play Stump the Kubinski in honor of Drive Away Dolls. We are playing doll movie trivia.
Ooh, I'm good at that.
You like your dolls?
I like my doll movies, for sure.
Absolutely. And it is still Florence Pugh month. It's the last week we will be celebrating Florence Pugh.
That's a shame.
Heck of a month.
It was. I'll say this. She was one of the more difficult, her career being a lot newer than some of our other celebratory celebrities. It's been difficult. Challenging.
To pull up facts and such.
Yeah, facts and clips and whatnot. Yeah.
So let's see what we got for a fact this week, KP.
Yes, absolutely. I'm so excited about this because there's intrigue and mystery. It's almost like it's still a fact, but it feels almost like I'm lying by omission or teasing because it's a secret fact. Or I guess it's a factual secret. So, like all of us, I suppose, Florence Pugh has 3 middle names for a total of 5 names.
Oh, my goodness.
Outrageous. Her first middle name is Rose. We talked about her YouTube channel earlier, and it was Flossie Rose. That makes sense. And her second and third middle names start with C and M, and that is all we know.
Ooh.
It's kind of like, what's Matt's last name? Because it's not K-A-Y, okay?
Sometimes I write K-A-Y.
I was going to say it's kind of like CM Punk, the wrestler.
Is it C&M? Yeah. Okay, well, why don't we make our educated guesses on what they could be?
I would say Cassandra and Mandy.
Christopher Maloney.
Constance Marigold.
Those are actually very British, so you've
She
got
is
the
British.
best chance. I know.
It's definitely Constance. I don't know about Marigold.
It could be Millhouse,
Could be.
you know?
Then
Well-
she would need, like, the third at the end.
We got to get her on the show, okay? We got to get her on. We got to talk to her. We'll all spill our middle names. And just to, like, give her... Jawheads, that's how we make this happen. You guys pressure her, you peer pressure her into showing up under the, like, agreement that all of us will share our middle names.
She should divide her career into 3 acts and say that she's going to release one of her middle names during each part of her career. You know, it's like
Interesting.
3 like 20-year acts.
I myself got really lucky because when your first name's Rye and your last name is Movie Guy, to get the as a middle name saved me. I mean,
Yeah.
that way I can use my entire name on the show, Rye the Movie Guy. I'm going full 3, you know?
Yeah.
And again, like, just your parents' foresight all those years ago, truly,
Amazing.
Yeah. It's a good thing you actually like movies, you know?
You're not kidding.
Yeah, if you were Rye the movie guy who was really into like painting birdhouses,
Right.
wouldn't have been as useful.
Yeah. I knew this guy, true story. His name was Era, and he was named for Aragorn. His parents were big fans of Lord of the Rings. Okay?
Oh, yeah, that's a bit much.
So they gave him like a shortened name of it.
I say after I named my son Parker.
And they named him Era. And then-
ARA, like
ARA. And then at one point we're talking middle names, and I said, "Well, what's your middle name?" And he was not joking at all. Jordan. So his middle name was Era Jordan. Like, are you kidding me? I went nuts. And he's like, "I don't like to tell anybody it's Era Jordan." But
Well, why doesn't he go by Aragorn?
I don't know. I have to ask his parents.
Huh. Of all the Lord of the Rings names, and don't get me wrong, I love me some Aragorn. I don't know if I would choose that as a name for a kid.
what else? I mean, you
I mean,
can't
you-
name the poor kid Bilbo.
No, definitely
I
not
guess you
Bilbo.
could name it Bill.
What about Frodo? No, that's not good either.
You are asking
Sam.
for your
All you
child
got
to
is
get.
Sam.
If you name your child Galadriel, she is going to be
Oh,
bullied.
Galadriel's a good one.
That kid is going to be bullied.
Gimli?
Do you not know how bullying works?
What was the elf's name?
If your name is Kevin, you're
Legolas.
probably going to get.
Legolas, yeah.
If your name is Kevin, you're going to get bullied in junior high.
All right, Gandalf. Gandalf Kubinski.
I think Sam's the only safe bet out of Lord of the Rings.
Probably.
And I am not tattooing Gandalf after Quinn. Just, I want to make that perfectly clear, Matt.
Well, don't worry. Don't worry, KP. That ship has sailed. We're out of that business.
Nice. All right, let's get to our first review.
Let's
here,
do
Matt,
that. Yeah,
because-
we got way too personal.
Yes, absolutely. There is, Jawheads, a new rom-com on Amazon Prime called Upgraded, and it feels like a minute since we've reviewed a rom-com here on the show. So Matt and I decided to give it a spin. Can this film about an intern in the art world turn out to be a masterpiece, or does it just look like a cheaper version of one?
Hello?
It's Claire, your boss. I need an extra assistant.
I just got invited to go to London with Claire DuPont. You're not on this flight.
I put you on one that leaves in 4 hours. An economy.
You just been upgraded. First class?
I'm William. What brings you to London?
Our London branch has called in the director of the New York office.
Wow, you seem a bit young to be the director.
Yeah, the youngest director in company history.
Anna is an intern dreaming of a career in the art world while trying to impress her demanding boss, Claire, played by Marissa Tomei. When Anna is upgraded to first class on a work trip, she meets Will, a handsome English lad. Will mistakes Anna for her boss, a white lie which then sets off an odd chain of events, eventually leading to romance. The plot gives off some serious Devil Wears Prada vibes as we have an intern in Anna, and we have Marissa Tomei as the art boss everyone is afraid of and whom all are trying to impress. Unfortunately, Upgraded is not nearly as charming or as funny as Devil Wears Prada. I always liked Marissa Tomei, and I think she does a fine job here. Kind of reminded me of Edna from The Incredibles. Playing Anna is Camila Mendez, and while serviceable, I did not think she supplied the spark we needed here. We really needed to be cheering for this character, and I found myself ho-hum for most of it. The character I laughed at the most was Anna's brother-in-law, who did not want her sleeping on their couch anymore. This movie runs through the typical rom-com beats and did nothing special or different to make itself shine. The thing is, though, I didn't hate the film, but I was not all that entertained either. Matt, what's your take on Upgraded?
The brother-in-law, by the way, is Andrew Schultz, who's definitely, I would say he's an up-and-comer, but he's pretty much already there.
A comedian?
Yeah, he's a comedian,
Okay.
a stand-up. It's pretty well respected, and he's got a big fan base. So
He was the best. Agreed or no?
I agree. So here's all the things I liked about the movie. I did not hate this movie.
Right. I agree. This is not we're going to poo-poo on this movie. It's decent.
Yeah. Whenever it wasn't the romantic scenes, that's when this movie was at its best. The romance is bland, milquetoast, feels tacked on. I did not feel any chemistry between these two characters, and that's a big fail if it's a romantic comedy. But the movie really kind of shines with her relationship with her boss, and even her relationship with her love interest's mom is more interesting than her relationship with her love interest.
Right.
There's the Richard E. Lee character that comes in.
And I wish it was Richard E. Lee.
Right.
Yeah.
They couldn't get Richard E. Lee.
Right.
It's like a poor man's Richard E. Lee. But it's basically this guy's playing a Richard E. Lee character, which was fantastic. I liked him regardless. They don't give him too much to do. It was just enough. And, it all wraps up in a pretty little bow, but I kind of had fun getting there. I mean, it was decent. The last rom-com we did was Bros, by the way.
Wow. And that was probably...
It's about a year ago?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we don't talk enough rom-coms on the show. Not that we're humongous fans, but we should discuss the
They don't
genre
come out
here
a
and there.
lot. It's really, like, after the whole Meg Ryan, Tom Hanks thing, can you name, like, a big box office rom-com?
Oh, yeah, they've definitely slowed down. I mean, I always say I was a big fan of Crazy Stupid Love with Emma Stone and Ryan Gosling, but there are one-offs when every once in a while they're good. We haven't had, like, a Julia Roberts or a
Right. That was a box
Meg
office.
Ryan or somebody where it's like, oh, this is just gold. Or even Matthew McConaughey on the guy side.
Oh, those were never gold, by the way.
But he was cranking them out all the time, and they were, kind of like talked about quite
Were
often.
they?
Yeah. How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days and, The
All right.
Wedding Planner.
I think
There's fans out there of those movies.
If you want to give Judd Apatow some credit and call those rom-coms, but they were a bit different, weren't
Right.
they?
Yeah, a little bit, raunchier.
Yeah. Kind of gross out rom-coms.
Right.
But Knocked Up was amazing.
Right. And so now Upgraded is much more back to, hey, this is just a safe, kind of like candy-coated movie.
Like a 90s rom-com.
Yeah, it's just going to follow the beats. We're going to feel embarrassed for this girl at some point. She's going to get in her get too deep into the mess.
The world of lies that she spun.
Right. And then eventually the truth is going to come out. They're going to turn on her for a little, but it's all going to work out for her. Everybody knows this. It's not like we're spoiling a movie. It's just how these all work. And this follows it exactly the same. One issue I did have with it, because I did like the relationship between Anna and Will's mom, was we come to find out that Will's mom is selling her art collection.
Right. And she's also got an ulterior motive.
Right. Okay. When they first meet and she hears about the job, this would have all come up. It took too long.
No, that's the thing. They actually explained that well, I think.
Did they?
Yeah.
I didn't think so, because I think, like, as soon as they got in the car, when they first meet, they're picking up Will and they give her a ride to the hotel. It would have probably come up right then.
Yeah, but the mom confesses, and this might be a bit of a spoiler. Hey, if you're really not looking for spoilers,
I don't think people are that concerned.
they have a discussion later in the movie, and she says, "I was using you a little bit too," because she knew that she was working for the auction house she was trying to get leverage
Right.
on her deal.
Yeah, I just don't know if she would have thought of that fast, is my point. Like, she had never met this person, and then they all sort of met at the airport, and it comes up. Like, this would have had to have been a master plan by Will's mom.
All right,
You know
yeah,
what I mean?
guess you need to go with it a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit. But you're right, there's no chemistry between Will and Anna. At least I didn't feel it, and it seems like you didn't feel it at all.
Not really. It's okay. It's lukewarm at best.
Yeah, a jaw-dropping moment or an element that you liked?
Is there one? Is there a jaw-dropping moment? An element I liked, Marissa Tomei.
Yeah, okay, so I said she reminded me of Edna from The Incredibles.
I mean, that's because she's got a bob.
Yeah, she's got that haircut, and she's got sort of a weird voice going on in this movie as well.
Do I remind you of Edna Mode? I have a bob and a weird voice and make art. What is this supposed to mean?
A little bit, now that you mention it, KP.
Should I stop dyeing my hair? Should I keep it black?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, you'd look more like Edna.
But Marissa Tomei was the sell for me, actually, to check this movie out. I'm always
I'm
a
sure
fan.
she was the sell for most people who will check this out.
Right. So I thought, all right, I'll give it a spin. She's clearly going for that Devil Wears Prada
Ish.
boss played by Meryl Streep.
But she actually has a heart in there.
Right. I don't know if she sold it as well here. Decent job. Like to see the performance, but was not my jaw-dropping moment. If I would say there was one element that I liked, I loved when Anna actually gets her boss, Marissa Tomei's dress that she's supposed to, I think, dry clean, and she gets invited to a date, and she's going to wear the dress, and hopefully nobody would see. And we all know that someone's going to catch up that she's wearing this dress at an event. Those are kind of those fun moments in these.
Well, you're getting photographed next to a famous person.
Right.
Like, duh, what the hell are you thinking?
These are kind of, all right, we're in a mess here. I like those kind of moments in the movie.
Yeah. Yeah, I had fun with it too, man.
Movie poster quote, I went with a paint by numbers rom-com. You see what I did there, Matt?
Yeah. I wrote upgraded is economy class.
2 Jaws for Rye the Movie Guy.
2 Jaws from Matt K.
Wow. I mean, we didn't probably sell a lot of people on it, but if you're into rom-coms, I would recommend. It's not an absolute complete junker.
This is a pint of ice cream on the couch, Netflix and chill. Just put it on, relax.
It was an easy watch.
Yeah.
I agree with you there.
There's nothing complicated about it,
Yeah.
but and that's refreshing at times.
It is.
So,
Upgraded is streaming on Amazon Prime. I highly doubt you will see it nominated for any Oscars at the 2025 Oscars, but we wanted to, before we get to Freddy talk, we did want to talk about this year's Oscars.
yeah, we did.
And we got a few categories. We even printed out sheets.
I know,
like real
Ryan.
pros.
How fancy. We actually have like notes. Let me shuffle them like a true journalist here.
Yeah, this is what
This just in, ladies and gentlemen.
like a Dave Letterman used to do. All right, so I got here in my right hand the top 10. We're going to go over these categories, just some news notes. If you got an office pool, might want to write down these winners that me and Matt will.
Do people still do? You probably do. Right?
Not anymore, but I used to, and I used to run one at an office at one point.
That tracks.
People probably didn't want to do it, but Ryan's over at the cooler telling him, you guys wouldn't believe it. Have you seen Mad Max Fury Road?
You would be shocked because there were a lot of people that don't bet on like football, and at this office it was full of gamblers, and then other people wanted to be involved, and it is something fun to bet on,
Well, let's maybe make some bets. Let's see how this goes.
So I'm going to open up this discussion with a prediction, Jawheads. I believe we will see the very first, if not the first, very few of these have ever happened, a standing ovation for the winner of the live-action short film. And I believe Wes Anderson will win the award for Henry Sugar. Wes Anderson has been nominated in his career 8 times, has never won. Various writing, he's been nominated multiple times for animation for Fantastic Mr. Fox. Has never won an Oscar. And he's one of those guys that's very cherished and beloved, not just in the Academy, but by movie fans. And now he's nominated for The Wonderful Life of Henry Sugar.
Something like that, yeah.
Have the title correct. And it's in the short film category. I believe if he wins, we see the night's first standing ovation.
That's got to suck for the other short filmmakers. They're like, this was my way in. Wes Anderson makes a short film? The hell?
And I'm interested to see what kind of speech he would give. He's a very interesting guy.
It would be short.
For a short film.
Yep.
Looking here, you got on the bottom here, I went with screenplays.
We're going from the bottom up?
Yeah.
All right.
So for best adapted screenplay, and this one's...
These are probably the 2 easiest categories to pick.
Yeah, well, here's the problem. So in adapted screenplay, you'll notice that Barbie is listed in there.
Yeah.
This was a big deal because they actually submitted it for original screenplay, but the Academy deemed that Barbie is based on the doll. That means it's adapted. So it's not usually adapted as like American Fiction is a book, and then they adapted it to a movie. But in the case of Barbie, there was never a story about Barbie. But because the doll existed, the Academy deemed that Barbie, the screenplay, should be an adapted screenplay.
This is a major fail by the Academy.
And unfortunately, I think Barbie doesn't win because of that. Because in the category, you have American Fiction, Barbie, Oppenheimer, Poor Things, and Zone of Interest. And if I'm being quite honest, I love Barbie. It's probably coming in 5th almost out of that category. I think Oppenheimer takes this thing.
I would agree with you. Oppenheimer takes it. I still have not seen Zone of Interest, dude.
You got to get to it.
I know, but it's like I from what I know about it, it's not like something I'm really excited to watch. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm happy with Oppenheimer winning that. I'm okay.
Yeah, big fail from the Academy. They should have put Barbie in original because then we would have had Barbenheimer in the screenplay category.
Would have been awesome.
Yep.
So in original screenplay, since Barbie's not there, we have Anatomy of a Fall, The Holdovers, Maestro, May, December, and Past Lives. What do you like here, Matt?
May, December is too derivative of a major news story, although that would probably be my front runner otherwise. So I will go with The Holdovers here.
I'm also thinking it's going to be The Holdovers as well. A lot of love for that movie. And I
Yeah.
think the more people who have seen it, more people are talking about how damn good it is. So I think this is one of the awards The Holdovers gets.
I hope The Holdovers, we're talking about it next Christmas too.
Right?
Yeah.
As we make it an annual tradition,
Yeah.
as you said.
Yep.
Up next, we have animated feature. What do we have, Matt?
The nominees are The Boy and the Heron, Elemental, Nimona, Robot Dreams, and Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse.
So you've seen all of these other than Robot Dreams you haven't checked out yet, right?
Correct.
And I loved Robot Dreams, but that's in here just
That's a
to
dark
be,
horse.
Yeah, and that it being nominated was the win.
And
for
honestly, Nimona's a dark horse too. As much as it pains me to say, I love that movie.
And really, because of the two strong ones here, Elemental's a dark horse also. It really comes down to The Boy and the Heron versus Spider-Man. And
They're going to give it to The Boy and the Heron.
I think they're going to give it to The Boy and the Heron also. I would be pleased if Spider-Man or The Boy and the Heron wins.
Same.
They're both great. This is one of those where it's tough to.
Miyazaki's getting his Oscar.
Yeah, he does have one for Spirited Away, but
that's true.
This would be his, and this is a sequel to Spider-Man, which already won the Oscar, and we got a third one coming. We'll see how they go, but my guess is Boy and the Heron.
Maybe
also.
it's a Godfather, type thing.
International feature. We have the Captain from Italy.
Mm-hmm.
How would you say that?
I have no idea. That's Italian, obviously.
But I believe it's the Captain. Is
Yeah,
the translation.
Capitano.
Yeah.
Capitano is how you say captain, but is that Io Capitano?
We have Perfect Days from Japan, Society of Snow from Spain, The Teacher's Lounge from Germany, and The Zone of Interest from the United Kingdom. I've seen all of these movies except from the one from Italy. I caught up with Perfect Days after we had Leo Brady on, and he had it in his top 10. And wonderful film. But this is...
Would you have put it in your top 10?
It wouldn't have made my top 10.
Okay.
This is The Zone of Interest, which, if you're paying attention, it's also nominated for Best Picture of the Year. So it's the only one of the international features to be nominated. Almost
guarantees it.
Yeah, it's almost why have the international feature
If we're
award
gonna,
if we're going to also put this for Best Picture of the Year, for the big prize as well.
yeah,
So I don't see any other film possibly winning other than The Zone of Interest.
yeah, it was nice of them to get nominated.
Very much like Parasite. Remember, Parasite ended up winning Best Picture. Of course, it's the best international feature. Also, it's
Yeah.
a shoo-in. So, Best Director. Who do we got, Matt? This is a big one.
All right, big one. Here we go. We got Jonathan Glazer for Zone of Interest, Yorgos Lanthimos for Poor Things, Christopher Nolan for Oppenheimer, Scorsese for Killers of the Flower Moon, and Justin Trite for Anatomy of a Fall.
This is the biggest lock, maybe, of the night.
Okay, yeah. I was about to say, what are you talking about? And then I remembered.
And it reminds me of, go back to 1993, 30 years ago, Spielberg finally got that Oscar for Schindler's List. And it really feels like...
Wow, he didn't have an Oscar prior to that?
Prior to that, had not. And here was a guy that started in the 70s, absolutely dominated the 80s. And then it was early 90s, they were finally like, all right, here's your Oscar.
Well, not to say that Schindler's List wasn't an amazing film.
This is why it's exactly it lines up perfectly. Same with Oppenheimer. Not to say Oppenheimer's great, and I'm glad they're going to award Christopher Nolan Best Director for it. But it's like he's really been the kind of guy for the last 10 years. Christopher Nolan makes a movie. People want to see this film more so than really any other director going as far as a director's voice.
I mean, that's somewhat debatable, but he is certainly one of the best working directors today.
And so this is a lock, but it's a lock I'm very happy for. Another big standing ovation you can expect.
It's also the best movie. I mean, granted, I have not seen Zone of Interest. Yeah, whatever. I think it's the best movie of the bunch.
All right, we both agree on that one. We go on to Best Supporting Actress. Emily Blunt in Oppenheimer, Daniel Brooks, The Color Purple, America Ferrera in Barbie, Jodie Foster for Nyad, and Divine Joy Randolph for The Holdovers. I don't know. I love Jodie Foster. I
don't know what she's doing on this list?
Really don't know what she's doing on this list. I mean, decent performance at best in Nyad. I like America Ferrera. I thought Daniel Brooks in The Color Purple was great. Rewatched Oppenheimer and appreciated Emily Blunt's performance so much more.
I agree, but it's a small role.
It is a smaller role. And then you have Divine Joy Randolph in The Holdovers, which is, I've watched that now twice, and it's just a wonderful performance. And I've commented on it before. I think it sneaks up on you because you're so invested in the teacher and the student relationship.
A lot of that movie sneaks up on you.
And then she comes in with her storyline, and it wallops you, and she does such an amazing job. Man, it's a heartbreaking scene when they're at the Christmas party.
Yeah, and she gets drunk.
And I think we've all maybe been in those moments where, maybe it's us ourselves that have had that moment where, you've maybe had too much to drink and you're just having like one of those finally emotional moments. Everything's just finally hitting you,
Yeah.
Or it's been, somebody in somebody's family, or you've been at a, friend's party. But that scene when, he goes and he gets, the kid goes and gets Giamatti. And he's like, no, you got to come into the kitchen. Something's wrong. And you go in there and you realize, she's having her moment. It's just heartbreaking.
Yeah. Yeah, what a great performance.
Yeah.
So you think she's a lock?
I think she's a lock. I think that's one of the locks that you can expect here. On to Best Supporting Actor, Matt.
All right. Sterling K. Brown for American Fiction, Robert De Niro for Killers of the Flower Moon, Robert Downey Jr. for Oppenheimer, Ryan Gosling for Barbie, and Mark Ruffalo for Poor Things. So my money would probably be on Robert Downey Jr. And I think that's the smart money, but this is not a lock, I don't think. I think that there's some competition here. I know you would probably like to see Ruffalo get it.
Yeah, if I was saying who I'd want to win, I'd want Ruffalo to win this thing.
Yeah.
I've rewatched Poor Things now twice. He's just terrific in it.
Do you have a screener copy of it?
No, I wanted to catch it one more time on the big screen.
Oh,
so I actually went a second time to the theater. Gosling was fabulous in Barbie, but it's usually not the kind of role that's going to win.
He was really good, though.
But he was really good. I like Sterling K. Brown. I really like everybody in this category. De Niro's best work in a long time. But if I'm a betting man, I'm also going Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah. It's almost like the safe choice. Kind of a boring choice, if you ask me.
So the next category is Best Actress, and this is, I think, going to be one of the best races. And
the most competitive?
Yeah, it's going to be all the way up to the end. We're not positive who's going to win here. You have Annette Bening in Nyad. Again, not sure what the Nyad love here is. I thought decent performance at best. Lily Gladstone, Killers of the Flower Moon, Sandra Hüller for Anatomy of a Fall, Carey Mulligan for Maestro, and Emma Stone for Poor Things. And it's a two-horse race. It's Lily Gladstone versus Emma Stone. And having just watched Poor Things a second time, I really, really want Emma Stone to win this thing. This is the best she's ever been. But she's won one, and Lily Gladstone is the first Native American actress ever to be nominated. She has that going for her. I know people probably want her to win. She's also amazing in there. I think this is going to be right down to the wire. It seems like Emma Stone's winning a little bit more through the categories so far, but I think it's one of those. It's going to be very, very close. And yeah. I'm hoping Emma Stone wins, and I'll go as far as to say I think she will win, but I wouldn't put money on this one.
I would bet on Lily Gladstone big time.
Really?
Oh yeah, I think she's going to win. I think she's got it. And yeah, that would be my bet. All right, Ryan, here we are. Best Actor. Bradley Cooper for Maestro, Coleman Domingo for Rustin, Paul Giamatti for The Holdovers, Cillian Murphy for Oppenheimer, and Jeffrey Wright for American Fiction. Let's eliminate Coleman Domingo right away.
Yeah, I think he's happy to be nominated. I'm glad to see him there, but he's not going to win this thing.
Let's eliminate Bradley Cooper.
Yep, not going to win this thing.
Let's eliminate Jeffrey Wright.
He's not going to win it either. This is also a 2-horse race.
It really is a 2-horse race. And boy, oh boy, I don't know. I think it's probably going to go Cillian Murphy. But it might just go Giamatti.
I know. And this is one, it would be tough if I was actually voting. This is one it would keep me up at night.
Here's
love
a question.
both.
We do vote. We vote in our CIC awards. Do you remember which way you went when you voted?
I left that category for my last one. You know how you go through it? I skipped it, and I went through all of the other categories, and then I went back to the actor, and I just thought about it.
So we, just so Jawheads understand, we do our voting in sort of a weight or ranking system.
Yeah, 5 through 1.
5 through 1, and they each get points for where you rank them.
Right.
So would you
I ended up putting Giamatti my number 5, which gives him the 5 points.
Gives him the 5 points.
Yeah, and then I gave Cillian Murphy the 4 points. And I
did the same.
Did you?
Yes.
And in our group, Giamatti ended up winning for Best Actor out of the Chicago Indie Critics.
Right. There's less of us. There's only about 40 of us.
Yeah. So he won there. I with you. Boy, really tough. I would probably vote for Giamatti, but man, I love Cillian Murphy here also. And I mean, it's such a strong performance in Oppenheimer. He's really the whole movie.
Here's the thing, though. And if I'm a voting member of the Academy, I might make this mental calculus. I think we're going to get to the next category where that movie's going to be rewarded. So I think this is where you give it to Giamatti. He's been in the industry longer. Cillian Murphy's got this under his belt now. He's got years ahead of him. That's how I'm thinking. I might just be a Giamatti come from behind victory.
Yeah, that's another one that's going to be fun. I think the Best Actress race and Best Actor are two great races.
Do you still put on your tuxedo and pour yourself a glass of brandy?
No, but I usually do open up a special bottle of wine. Usually something that I have, off to the side, a little bit older. So we'll see.
Cheese and crackers.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Summer
always,
sausage.
Yeah. Finger foods. Like and snack, and I watch and pace the room. I very seldom sit. True story. Just pace around.
Crazy.
Yeah. All right. Best Picture. The 10 nominees, since they give us 10, are American Fiction, Anatomy of a Fall, Barbie, The Holdovers, Killers of the Flower Moon, Maestro, Oppenheimer, Past Lives, Poor Things, The Zone of Interest. I think this one's a lock. I think, Matt, you think it's a lock. What do we got?
I think everybody thinks it's a lock. Should we do what we did last category and make the eliminations?
Yeah.
All right. You can cut Maestro right the hell out of there.
Yeah, Maestro.
I don't even know anyone who saw it.
Oh, I've seen it.
Well, you saw it. You're Ride the Movie guy.
Of course.
Nobody else did.
Well, yes. I mean, a lot of people.
I don't even think Bradley Cooper's mom watched it.
I saw this. Somebody commented that Netflix spends all this money putting this movie together, and then they put out all this promotional stuff for it to hope get Oscars. Then they put it out on Netflix, and it was in like the top 10 of Netflix for like a day or 2 days. And all these other junky movies are, ahead of it.
Yeah. Upgraded.
So, yeah, Maestro, eliminate. Zone of Interest, while I think it's a very fine movie and I hope people see it, I think you can eliminate it. Same with American Fiction.
Yeah, that's a shame, but yeah. This category is too bloated.
Past Lives, happy to be there. I like the movie, very small, happy to be there. We can eliminate it. The heavy hitters here are Anatomy of a Fall, because it really did get a lot of support overseas, and it's a great movie. Barbie, obviously, it's got to be in contention. The Holdovers, we love it. Killers of the Flower Moon, Scorsese, and Oppenheimer. It really comes down to those. If they were doing like the normal 5 like they normally would, I think that would be the 5. but I think we both agree it's going to be Oppenheimer.
It's going to be Oppenheimer. Does Barbie win any Oscars?
That's the tricky part. I don't know.
Costumes, maybe?
Once you get into that kind of stuff and song, I think it'll win Best Song.
Sure. That's actually a big category.
Yeah, it'll win like song. It might even win like production design. You know, Barbie Land looked pretty great, but it's going against like Poor Things that might win production design. It's gonna be sad, but I think Barbie wins like maybe 1 to 2 Oscars. I think Poor Things comes in second with maybe like 5 Oscars, and it's because it's going to get some technical awards in there. Because
Margot Robbie didn't even get nominated, which is
I know,
crazy.
And I think Oppenheimer can win something like 7 Oscars on Oscar Sunday.
Yeah, it's not going to sweep. It's no Return of the King. But,
No, it's going to get a lot though.
Yes, it will.
Absolutely. Those are our Oscar predictions. True story. The movie we are about to review, Nightmare on Elm Street 3, Dream Warriors, didn't receive any Oscar nominations. I'm stunned. I'm stunned.
Well, I mean, the Academy is not known for their love of horror. But here we go. Ryan, I was 10 years old in 1987, not to date myself, and I probably had no business watching A Nightmare on Elm Street 3, Dream Warriors. But I did. And oh, that nurse scene. If I'm being honest, the VHS from my local video store always had tapeware at that moment. I can't imagine why. Couldn't have been just for me. Frankly, the whole movie was pivotal for me, and not just for such puerile reasons, with scenes including punkers, Dungeons and Dragons, staying awake late, monsters, and all sorts of pre-teenage power fantasies. It was all extremely interesting to a young me. But 36 years later, how does it hold up? Ryan and I had a spoonful of instant coffee and washed it down with a swig of Diet Coke. Don't want to fall asleep on this revisit.
Into the fire! Into the fire! Into the fire!
Wake up a whole neighborhood. What are you still doing up? It's past 1.
I just thought I'd wait for you.
Well, I'm home. You can get to sleep now. Come on. Andale. What's that for?
Just glad you're home. I had the most awful dream.
Elaine, where do you keep the bourbon?
I'll be right down. Chris, I've got a guest.
Please, Mom, I just don't want to be alone.
I said, where's the fucking bourbon? You should listen to your mother.
Ah, damn it, Kristen, you ruin everything. Every time I bring a man home, you spoil it. You know what your shrink says? You're just trying to get a little attention.
Wow, 36 years, and this film hasn't aged a day. Well, maybe a day. What you'll notice straight away is the photography, the dark and slightly grainy look of the pre-digital era. The version I watched was on YouTube, and honestly, it looked way better than most 90s movies I've rented on YouTube or any other online platform. We have to discuss the effects. I think we'll be talking about those a lot. Everything is done practically. There are some animation sequences that use stop motion that range from genius to hilarious. And honestly, genius to hilarious pretty much encapsulates the tone of the entire movie in a nutshell. Some standout moments are obviously every single special effect. This is truly a dream, if you will, for old school blood and guts lovers. The giant worm Freddy, the sink Freddy, the marionette Freddy, the TV Freddy. Watching this takes me back to trips to the grocery store when I'd sneak off while Mom was shopping and flip through copies of Fangoria magazine. and it all still holds up for me. While the first Nightmare on Elm Street film was a critical hit, the third almost didn't happen after the flop that was Freddy's Revenge. But thank God it did. This is the best of the Nightmare movies, in my opinion. Famously, the original Nightmare gave us Johnny Depp, and the same can be said here for Patricia Arquette, who is joined by Morpheus himself, Larry Fishburne. We'll curious about Ryan's take on that, and returning Heather Langenkamp as Nancy, and of course also the amazing Robert Englund as Freddy. The cast is rounded out by Craig Wasson as Dr. Gordon, who is pretty darn good in the role. In general, the cast is great, with the strong link being Arquette and the weak link being Langenkamp, who I remember thinking was bad even as a kid. My bottom line on this revisit, the movie holds up and is a fun piece of late 80s horror nostalgia, dare I say, history, Ryan. But I am very, very curious, as a first-time watcher, what was your take on A Nightmare on Elm Street 3 Dream Warriors?
So let me tell you, I've commented to you before we hit record. A lot of times when people see something from their childhood and they love the movie, it has a special place in your heart, and there's this nostalgia for it. And then when you come to it way later, like I'm not that big into Freddy Krueger or the Nightmare on Elm Street movies. I was afraid that I was just going to watch this and be like, this is just so stupid. What does everybody see about these movies? Not the case. I actually think that this was by far the best Nightmare on Elm Street I've seen. I know I've seen the first, and I know I've seen one other bad one in there. This was damn entertaining. Number one, the setting that it's in, putting it in the hospital, where all these people, and we come to find out these are like the last kids on Elm Street.
Yeah. Which is stupid.
Pretty dumb. But the idea that they're all in the hospital was a pretty cool setting.
It was.
I like that idea.
They're all
right
in a
off the
mental
bat.
hospital because Freddy is making it look like they're doing harm to themselves.
Right. Yeah. And one of the best, let's get to one of the better parts, is when he actually is pulling this kid's a puppet string.
I love that.
And that starts with the stop motion that you talked about with the marionette Freddy. I thought that effect was incredible. That was one of my favorite, where it starts as the marionette puppet. I thought, like, oh, are we watching like a puppeteer here? And then he like landed on the ground and he moved a little bit, and then he became, Freddy, and he started pulling him. What would you say, by his veins?
He
was
rips
wicked.
his veins out and like uses them as marionette strings. The thing about the stop motion Freddy when he comes off the wall, why was that necessary at all? He just turns into Big Freddy at the foot of the guy's bed. He never sees him as marionette Freddy.
Right. It's just for our benefit.
Yeah.
Yeah. It looked like he was on the wall at first.
Yeah. This character
It was so interesting.
who is the first to die, liked to build puppets and marionettes,
Right.
and he had them hanging in his room, and so Freddy uses the things that you're into to like mentally torture you before he offs you.
Yeah. The only problem I had with that whole entire sequence was that all the other kids were just watching at the window.
Well, they're screaming. They're trying to wake him up.
And he's way up at the watchtower window, and of course he's going to meet his demise. But I really did like that. I love the
That's
sink.
a great scene.
The sink Freddy is great.
Yeah.
Because
it's practical.
So I would say this, watching it as an adult and not having that nostalgia of being scared, nothing scared me here. It was more just like a fun kind of horror. Nothing like, I wasn't even shocked or grossed or had a jump scare much.
Did the pigeons get you?
Not the pigeons.
Okay.
The two times that I was like semi-shocked were the sink Freddy, when the faucet turns into the hand.
Yeah. Oh, because you weren't expecting it.
No, so that got me pretty good. I was
You thought she was awake.
Yeah, that jolted me. And then early on in the movie, when Patricia Arquette is having a dream and she's running, holding the baby, and she thinks she's in quicksand for a little while. She looks down at her feet. She's not moving anywhere. And then she looks back down at the baby, and it's just a skeleton.
Yeah.
That actually was like got me to jump a little bit.
Put me down. You're hurting me. Yeah. I love that scene.
But, okay, so Freddy's fun in this one. There's no doubt. He's got some great lines in this one.
I said, where'd you put the fucking bourbon? Awesome.
I like the faces on Freddy's chest.
Yeah,
that was
cool.
really neat. And so you're talking about the effects, and most of it's all in camera. Still a lot of fun. I can appreciate all of it. I wish they didn't use any of the green screens. For instance, when the kid is like hanging above the fire pit, he's like with his arms out.
Yeah.
And
he's
then
like suspended.
He's suspended, and you can clearly tell he's like above like a green screen. Those were the only effects that didn't hold up.
Yeah, they look okay.
Yeah, and like those were the times where I was like, it doesn't look good. I like if you went for it.
What about the magic?
If you went for it in camera, I was appreciative of it.
What about so all right, if you don't know, which I'm sure everybody does, each kid in this dream world develops a power that sort of matches their interests or talents, right? And one of them is a Dungeons and Dragons kid who's stuck in a wheelchair after a failed attempt at suicide that Freddy was responsible for. So that's in air quotes. He, in the dream, is a wizard, and he fires a green lightning bolt at him. What did you think of that effect?
Pretty cool.
Yeah?
Yeah. I mean, goofy.
They don't make them like that anymore.
It's very, very dated, so it's sort of like, whoa, haven't seen something like this in a long time. But I thought it was pretty cool in general.
Yeah, I'd like to see more of that.
Yeah, be fun.
I mean, that was like well, I guess it was post Ghostbusters, but to give you an idea, it kind of looks like the proton, that kind of animation.
So here's my biggest gripe with it. And I know I'm not supposed to be overthinking a movie like this, but I couldn't stand the fact that Nancy comes back and is an assistant therapist. I mean, she's about the same age as Patricia Arquette. I mean, she's just too young.
I was always doing that mental math too.
Too young to be playing the
grown up.
The grown up. I mean, I know you don't want to recast her. I don't know what you do, but don't put her as an assistant therapist.
But they gave her just a gray shock of hair.
It was just dumb. And I know I'm not, like I said, I don't want to analyze it to the point where I was down on the movie.
No, that's fair. I thought that even when I was a kid.
But man, I was like, when she first came on, I was like, well, what is she doing here? She's the girl from the first one. And then I'm like, and then they say, she's this, intern.
It works. It works in the story, but she's also, and I'm not bashing Heather Langenkamp. She's done other things. She was in The New Nightmare and everything else. She's fine, but she's not great in this. Like she didn't get the memo. Patricia Arquette's great. All the kids are great. The other doctor is great. She is just not great.
Right.
Yeah. But really, who else do you get? She was great the first one.
So, speaking of greats, I do love Patricia Arquette here. Fantastic throughout.
She screams really well.
She really does. And I was trying to think, what else do I know early Patricia Arquette from? And I wanted to throw that into the fish tank. So right around those years, 87 to like 90, what was Patricia Arquette doing? Because when I was watching her here, I had this thought, like, but geez, I don't remember the first thing that I remember Patricia Arquette from. She's like in my mind, I was like,
True Romance?
Always have known Patricia Arquette. I couldn't remember where I got to know her. But interesting seeing her here, so young, and she's really good. Larry Fishburne.
Well, that was a weird one, right?
Yeah,
I totally forgot he was in this movie.
Because you wouldn't have known him at the time, and then,
No. And he's not like a big character, but he is a main character of sorts.
Yeah, he's got a prominent role.
Yeah. Well said.
He was good. To me, I thought like, well, this is actually like an enjoyable Nightmare on Elm Street. I know most of the other ones kind of crappy.
They have their moments. This one is definitely the best one.
Yeah. So I enjoyed it. If I had a jaw-dropping moment, something we haven't mentioned here, and I sat there, Matt, throughout the entire credits. And you know why I sat throughout the entire credits?
Actually, I'm curious. Why?
I love the song Dream Warriors by the band Dokken.
You didn't know it was Dokken?
No. So
Where the hell have you been, Ride the Movie Guy? Come on.
I like Dokken. I remember Dokken from back in the day. And so
I had the back patch on the back of my jean jacket.
Of Dokken?
You bet your ass.
So my brother was a big fan. When you got an older brother and he's into heavy metal and that kind of stuff. So I knew Dokken, and they play a song earlier in the movie. And I was like, man, that's like that late 80s hair metal, heavy metal / hair metal. I'm like, what is that? My guess was Rat. That's where I was going with Rat.
I mean, it's a fair guess.
So I'm like listening, and I lose it. Then all of a sudden, the credits go on, and that Dream Warrior song comes on. And it's an awesome song, to be absolutely honest.
It is. It's probably Dawkins' best song.
I'm like, wow, this song rocks. And I'm like, who is this? The whole time I sat through all the credits. And music always comes up at the end of the credits. It's always near the end. But this particular time, it actually is like the last thing of the credits.
You know, you can Google it, Rye.
What's the fun in that?
All right.
And plus,
I guess
I'm enjoying the song. Did you miss the whole thing? The song played over the entire credits, so I was enjoying the whole thing, and I'm trying to guess. What's the fun in... You have no fun. Learn
I have fun. I would have Googled it, known the answer, and then that would have been freed my mind to enjoy the song more.
I sat there and listened to the song and kept thinking, is it Rat? I was thinking, who else could it be? And then finally at the end, the last credit of the entire movie is like special thanks to Dokken and the two songs, one in the beginning and Dream Warrior.
So they did a music video for that song, and Patricia Arquette and Heather Langenkamp are in the music video, and I think Robert Englund is as well. We should throw that in the show notes.
Throw it in the fish tank.
Yeah.
To see if Robert Englund's in there as well.
I'm pretty sure they just do scenes from the movie.
Oh, if it's scenes from the movies, then
No. But they recreate scenes with Dokken in them.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Nice.
I haven't seen the music video for a long, long time.
So Dokken was a big deal, I guess, back then.
They were trying to be a big deal. I mean, that was definitely their prime.
Yeah.
They were at the height of their career in 1987.
Like to me, when I saw the name come on, it was like one of those, like I had forgot the name existed or the band. And so when it came on, I was like, oh, Dokken. I remember my brother being into Dokken.
What was the like teen magazine that had all the like heavy metal bands in it, like Motley Crue and Dokken and Dio and all the... Anyway,
Spin or something.
I don't remember. It doesn't matter. But I totally did have the back patch.
Nice.
Yeah, dude. I was a metal kid.
Yeah. Was there a jaw-dropping moment that we didn't mention for you?
The worm.
Yes, I'm glad you brought it up. So this is I called it the Abyss Freddy, because you know the Abyss, how it comes out like in a worm?
I guess, yeah. No, I have no idea what you're talking about.
You know the movie The Abyss.
Oh, okay,
it comes out
the
in that,
movie
like,
The
snake,
Abyss.
Yeah, it comes out in that like snake form the water does.
Yeah.
For some reason, I thought the way he looked.
That was digital.
Right. This was practical.
Right. So they actually built a giant head of Robert Englund that they stuffed Patricia Arquette into in real life. Like today, you do that with digital. Like there is not even a real Patricia Arquette on the set. It's all just fake. Here we have a giant, I don't know, what would you say, about 8 to 10 feet long?
Sure.
Freddy Krueger bash out of the floor, and it's a worm. It bites onto her legs and then slowly starts to eat her, which is like everyone's worst nightmare.
Like a snake?
Yeah, being eaten alive. What a great scene.
That was awesome.
And it's kind of scary. Like, that's one of the jump scares for me.
That was a good one.
Yeah, that always used to freak me out as a kid.
Movie poster quote I went with, perhaps the best nightmare I had on Elm Street.
It's a good one. Mine is, welcome to Prime Freddy, bitch.
I want a solid 3 Jaws.
4 Jaws.
Wow. All right. 4 Jaws for Matt K. 3 Jaws for Rye the Movie Guy. And a first-time watch. I enjoyed this one.
That's great to hear, Ryan.
It was unfortunate it's not streaming for free on any service, as KP told us a couple weeks ago. I went and rented it. Sounds like you did find it on YouTube.
I rented it on YouTube.
Oh, you rented it on
Yeah.
YouTube. Okay. So you can rent it on the various spots. But for right now, keep your eyes open is what I would do, Jawheads. They make the rounds. It'll be on Netflix at some point kind of deal.
Yeah, and I got no skin in the game, but like I prefer YouTube for rentals.
Yeah.
Because I use the app a lot anyway, and they actually have a really good player. Yeah, so I go YouTube.
I went Amazon. I bounce around between that, Vudu.
Amazon's good because they have that X-ray thing where you can like learn facts about the movie while you're watching it.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, whatever you prefer.
Yeah. We're not done yet, Jawheads. When we come back, we have a review of the new Ethan Coen movie, Drive Away Dolls, plus some trivia. Stick with us.
Let's all go to the lobby.
Cinema has never been a stranger to addiction being a mental illness. We've got movies like Trainspotting, Requiem for a Dream, of those ilk, to cite for that. Plus, even our leading lady of the month on Cinemajaw, Florence Pugh, examined and brought empathy to the struggle of addiction in her role in last year's A Good Person. Here's a scene of Florence visiting the pharmacist.
I'm here to get a prescription refilled. Last name Johnson, birthday August 24th.
Okay. For which medication?
The Oxycontin.
It says here you are out of refills. I see you've been on them for over a year now. Your doctor is probably trying to wean you off of them. As I'm sure you know, they can be very addictive.
Oh, really? I hadn't fucking heard that. Sorry. I'm sorry. Listen, I was in a really bad car accident, and I need them because I'm in a lot of pain.
Just now?
What? No.
Your elbow is bleeding.
Oh, look, it's fine.
Let me go get you a bandage.
I don't need a fucking bandage. It's fine.
Then take this.
Oh my goodness, thank you so much. Thank you. I feel so much better now. Thank you. Fucking bitch.
And we're back on Cinemajaw. Ryan, before we get to our last review, which will be a short one, I think we threw at least one thing into the fish tank. Why don't we let KP swim up to the surface?
Wait a moment! It's fish! Isn't it?
DC! Wake up!
No, Pat, it's a giant glass bowl. Hey, get some fish folk.
Who's coming with me besides Flipper? Here.
That's a Sicilian message. It means little Brasi sleeps with the fishes.
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
Thank you, everybody. It feels so great to be out of the fish tank. I gotta say, not that it's my job to review Cinemajaw, but I'm gonna review Cinemajaw, particularly, okay, we started this episode on like cloud 11, okay, not 9, not 10, 11. And then this like return from break, peeing out that LaCroix did something because that was sleepy Matt.
Was that too mellow?
Yeah.
That was mellow Matt. You're back to mellow Matt.
Well,
Have another LaCroix. Get some more Raz.
So I think about it as, what radio station am I on? I was coming out of the break on NPR.
Why?
Do you want me to go back to like the morning drive?
Yes, they don't want us on NPR.
Here we go. Ready, guys? Here. And we're back on Cinemajaw. We are talking about movies, Ryan the Movie Guy. And before we talk about the next one, I think we threw a couple items into the fish tank. Let's see what KP's got to say.
KP!
I love it. Can you imagine how insufferable this would be if we did this all the time?
I really hope you threw in a few air horns like that.
Oh, absolutely. Stingers abound. Stingers abound.
Was that better?
In every way. Jawheads, get used to it because we're going to be this irritating all the time.
I think we already are.
No, we're inconsistent. We started, but then yeah, absolutely. That much has always been true. Speaking of lovable, we have a question about one Patricia Arquette. And the question, I just put, what was Patricia Arquette doing? To elaborate around the time of Dream Warriors. Mm-hmm. So, Dream Warriors was her first appearance ever on film. And I gotta be honest with you, Ryan. She was in some other stuff around this time, but at least in my child of 93 brain, none of these are like things that would make her cemented in your brain, okay? We have Pretty Smart from 1987.
Don't remember it.
Far North in 88.
Don't know it.
Additional voices for Uncle Buck. And I love Uncle Buck. I love Uncle Buck.
I love Uncle Buck.
But just additional voices.
Not even a Macaulay status, okay? When Macaulay, well, that's not true. Macaulay can outbill you. I'm unfairly prejudiced against child Macaulay. The point is, it really wasn't until True Romance in 93.
Wow.
Like there was a few years of just like, Patty, what are you doing?
Yeah. Interesting. Guess it was True Romance then for me. The first time I got to know her.
Yeah. I mean, that was a really early role for her. Yeah. I mean, people had already forgotten about Nightmare on Elm Street.
Interesting.
Our second one was also a Dream Warriors question, and it was who of Dream Warriors was in Dream Warriors, the music video.
Did you watch it?
I didn't watch it.
Okay.
We didn't have time in the. This is a secret. We don't actually have that much time in between breaks. So there was only 2. It was just Patricia and Robert Englund, and then the rest of them was the cast of, or not the cast, but the members of the band.
Oh wow. Okay. Interesting. Man, I got to rewatch that.
I'm gonna go home and watch it.
Yeah, me too.
We'll watch it right now.
We
We're going to pause the show. Well, guys, we'll take an actual break.
While we're still in the fish tank, next week, as I mentioned, all things Dune. We're finally seeing Dune 2. This is definitely the biggest movie of 2024 thus far. Delayed. It was supposed to come out in 2023. Writer's strike. They couldn't go out and promote it, so they delayed it until the strike was settled.
How did Chris Stuckman already watch this movie? Did it come out for the LA critics like a while ago?
You could have saw it. The first screening here in Chicago was earlier this week. It was right down the street at AMC during the day.
Stuckman had his video up like 3 weeks ago. I swear to God.
He might have went to the premiere.
Okay.
There was the premiere, but there was a Chicago one earlier. I didn't know if you were going to go to that daytime one.
No.
You didn't go, obviously.
No. When's the nighttime review? When are we going?
Monday.
Okay.
So
got to put that on my calendar.
Yeah. So we will talk all things Dune next week.
Dune. We're doing it.
I'm going to rewatch Dune, the first one.
Wait.
The first one.
Yeah, the one with Kyle MacLachlan?
No.
Nobody's got time for
Sting?
that.
The first
What?
Dune.
That's
part 1.
It's a long movie.
It's a good movie.
So I think that's everything. Jump back in that fish tank.
You bet.
I've had it with love. I don't believe it's relevant to the 21st century lesbian.
You're not wearing that.
I just came from work.
I came from Toledo. I don't dress like it.
I'm not here to peddle my wares. I'm leaving town.
I am too. That was my plan. Where are you going?
Tallahassee, Florida. I've been unhappy.
That's why we take this trip together, honey babe. We get our act together.
Curly's Drive Away, Pennsylvania's most trusted name in car delivery.
Curly here.
Don't call me Curly.
And your name, Curly?
My name is Curly. We just met. It's too familiar.
That clip is from the trailer for Drive Away Dolls, the new film from Ethan Coen. 5 years from now, when we decide to cover lesbian road trip movies, this will probably be listed on my top 5, Matt. In the film, Margaret Qualley plays Jamie, and Geraldine Viswanathan plays Marion. 2 friends, both lesbians, each have different sex drives and outlook on sex. Jamie has the high sex drive and more or less runs her life by hooking up with girls at gay bars and parties. Marion, more conservative and a closed book. So in a big mix-up, they end up taking a car from the Northeast to Tallahassee, Florida. Little do they know they have a highly sought-after package in the car. This causes some mob guys to chase them down. Much funny business ensues. Outside of Marion, who is straight-laced, everyone else in the film is playing a wacky, eccentric Coen Brothers character. The film is set in the early 90s, I believe, but Ethan Coen really lays into the 70s B-movie kind of vibe. There are these psychedelic interludes between scenes that help set the mood. I felt like I should be watching this in a movie theater where it's all sticky and old school, bad popcorn
because
kind of vibe.
Because of the soda.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly. The big joke of the film comes from what is in the hidden suitcase, and I will not spoil it. But I, and most people in my screening, found it very, very funny. Some big names pop up here, like Matt Damon, Beanie Feldstein, and Pedro Pascal. But for my money, Bill Camp, who plays Curly, the guy who gives the car to the girls, was the standout. Absolutely hilarious bit role here. The film is a minor work, and I mean that in many facets. The plot, it's not complicated at all. Very much one big joke plays out here. Besides the 2 leading ladies, everyone else probably worked on this movie for a 1 to 2 day shoot tops. And the runtime of this movie is quite short. It's listed as 84 minutes, but I checked my watch when this movie ended, and I would say it's about 74 minutes long without credits. So that's about an hour and 14 minutes, Matt. That's it. Because of that, I would suggest waiting to see this at home, probably not worth $10, $15 movie ticket. But as
$10, $15. Where? I mean, Jesus Christ, that's at like 10 o'clock in the morning.
Well, I know, but I mean, you can find it out there. And we're in Chicago. I don't know where everybody listening's from. So I'm taking the medium, But as far as the film itself goes, I found it most enjoyable and one that got me to laugh numerous times. So I am recommending this movie. It's just very short and very kind of like one note kind of joke. So maybe wait for it at home, but I'm recommending you do check out Drive Away Dolls.
It's just a Coen Brother.
Right. It's not Coen Brothers.
Right. If they had the other brother, maybe it would have been longer.
Right. I thought...
It's like you get half of a movie.
That's what I thought. I thought, if Joel Coen was in there with Ethan, he probably does the other 45 minutes. That's where you get the hour and 45 to 2 hour movie.
Yeah. See? I mean, you need the two things go together. But it was pretty good.
Yeah. I enjoyed it. And... it was those Coen Brother characters that I talk about, that wacky, eccentric, sometimes they can go really crazy. The whole movie is filled with this cast of characters.
We see a little bit of camp in the trailer where he's just writing up their car rental. And I think at one point they're like, we don't talk to many boys. And he looks at this dildo that's hanging out of their cardboard box on the counter. And he's like, you don't say. So is it kind of like that? Like all like...
I mean, a little bit. I mean,
deadpanish.
And the dildo that you're speaking of that's in this box that they carry into the store. I mean, the whole thing's just bizarre and funny on why they take this thing.
Right.
It's just goofy, And he plays Curly, and I think they say this in the trailer too. They mention him, call him Curly,
Yeah,
and he says,
and he's like, "Don't call me Curly."
It's like we're not on a first name basis kind of thing.
But he's wearing a name tag
that says Curly, And then of course, I love it because he gives the car to these girls thinking this is who he was supposed to give the car to, because just by chance somebody had told him like, hey, 2 people are going to come in and get a car and they want to go to Tallahassee. And, just a strange occurrence. They came in wanting, hey, you got a car to go to Tallahassee. And he thinks it's the mob people that he's supposed to give it to. Then when the real mob people come in, they don't have the car and Curly's there. It's just hilarious.
All hell breaks
loose. Yeah. And they're like, what do you mean the car's gone,
I got to see this movie. I really want to see it.
So very enjoyable. The screening I saw it at, there were a couple, but the one I saw it at was actually part of the Cinema Chicago, which is like supports the Chicago International Film Fest year round. And it seemed to be what was happening here. Half the theater was for that, and then they filled it in with other press. But for the Cinema Chicago people, it was like a double feature. It seems like they had already watched a movie prior to. And then they were doing like a film discussion when I walked in on that movie. And then there was, little downtime and then Drive Away Dolls. And I actually thought after it ended, this would be a great
double feature
movie. Exactly. Because it's short and it's just enjoyable. But I would like to see like something else with it. That would be awesome. So they did that. They did that very smartly. As far as a jaw-dropping moment goes that I didn't mention, two mobsters after they're want to track down these girls, they go to their friend who they left as a contact, which is that Beanie Feldstein, Jonah Hill's sister from Booksmart. And she ends up beating up one of the mobsters in just hilarious fashion. It's just goofiness.
I'm glad to see her again.
Yes, she was great in there for her small role. So that was my jaw-dropping moment. Very funny. And movie poster, I said, a very fun but short ride.
Yeah, sometimes that's okay.
3 solid jaws for Drive Away Dolls.
See?
Recommending this one.
All right. I'm stoked to see it. I really wanted to see this one. So nice.
Do check it out, Jawheads. We ready to play some trivia, Matt K?
I'm ready to play doll trivia, Rye.
In honor of Drive Away Dolls, we're playing doll movie trivia. Matt needs 3 or more not to be stumped.
I wasn't stumped last week.
And you weren't stumped last week. So let's keep that rolling, Matt. Are you ready?
I am.
Question 1. The Conjuring movies have spawned some spin-offs, such as The Nun, and also movies about this doll.
Annabelle.
That is correct. You are on the board. You do know your dolls.
I do.
Question 2.
It's a horror thing, I think.
We all love Chucky. What year did the original Child's Play come out?
Oh, wow. That is a great question. Okay, wow. It was...
Did you rent this one on VHS?
All the time. The mom from Seventh Heaven. Remember that crappy TV show, Seventh Heaven, where Jessica Biel came from that show? was the mom in Child's Play. And man, it must have been, I'm going to say this was the 80s VHS era. It was not the 90s, but it was like right there. I'm going to say 1988. But I might be off by 1, but I'm saying 88.
If you were off by 1, which way would you be off?
I would go higher. I would go to 89.
So we'll give you 88 and 89. Incorrect. You were off by 1, but it was 87.
Lower? 87. Oh, the same year as Nightmare 3.
Same year as Nightmare on Elm Street 3.
What a great year.
Right?
Yeah.
Chucky and Nightmare on Elm Street 3. Matt's 1 for 2. Question 3.
I was pretty damn close.
Yeah, you really were on top of that one. Question 3, Matt. This actor dated a blow-up doll in Lars and the Real Girl.
Yeah. That's, the hell's his name? It's, holy crap. I can see his face in my head. Not Will Arnett. He's, oh my God.
Lars and the Real Girl.
Oh, wait. Was that? Oh, it was Jason Segel.
Ryan Gosling.
Really?
Unbelievable.
I was way off. Way
Looking
off.
for Ryan Gosling. Barbie. Speaking of Ryan Gosling, Barbie is based on a doll and became one of the biggest films of all time. Name 4 actors that appear in Barbie.
Okay, well, Margot Robbie and Ryan Gosling.
That's 2.
You got Rhea Perlman.
That's 3. I wrote that one down, and I thought, man, I'll probably go Rhea Perlman.
Yeah, and you got Will Ferrell.
There you go. That's 4. Well done. That is correct. You also could have went America Ferrera, Michael Cera, Kate McKinnon.
There you go.
So name a few others. Last question. I love when it comes down to this. Matt has 2 right, 2 wrong, so it comes down to question 5. Famously, the great Roger Ebert wrote the story and worked on the screenplay for this 1970 released film.
Yeah, it's Beyond the Valley of the Dolls.
That is correct. Matt is not stumped again. Well done, Matt K.
Yeah, I love that movie too.
I have never seen it.
That's a wild watch. It's Russ Myers, by the way. So it's like very, very scintillating. I don't know if that's the right word. It's raunchy.
Scintillating. Raunchy.
Yeah, you know what Russ Myers is known for. Okay.
So it was doing the research as I wrote that question. This was supposed to be originally a sequel, straight up sequel to The Valley of the Dolls.
Right. It is not.
And then it became something else.
It's borderline pornographic.
Wow.
It's really weird.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, like, I think Ebert was like ashamed of it, but then learned to embrace it.
Right.
As like a weird footnote in his career. It's definitely odd. It's definitely worth a spin.
Got to check that out. I got to see The Valley of the Dolls, and I got to see Beyond the Valley of the Dolls. So,
yeah, you probably should watch them both.
I agree.
They really have nothing to do with each other. Then there's Beyond the Valley of the Ultra Vixens. I think that's one of them. Anyway,
and then there's Beyond the Planet of the Apes.
Yeah, we're getting way into the weeds.
Yeah, but there's a lot of Beyonds out there.
There is. Bed Bath and Beyond.
They're done.
Are they? That's a shame.
I thought Walmart owned them. How can they be done?
Well, I know the one in Lakeview closed. So
maybe they're just closing some locations, Ryan. There's still hope.
Perhaps.
They're not at the great beyond yet.
I don't want to be talking about Bed Bath and Beyond.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's
you
time
can
to
still
wrap
get a
up the
KitchenAid
podcast.
mixer at Kohl's. Oh yeah, that too.
God damn it! I need an air fryer, Ryan. Do you know of a good store I could go to?
I don't. I just don't know, man.
Where I could
Sears
also,
is God.
I would also pick up while I'm there some some nice soaps and some body lotion.
Right.
Any
And
leads?
a spatula.
Yeah, and a spatula too. Any place?
Don't know. Just don't know.
Pyrex measuring cups.
It's beyond my train of thought.
Well done.
Yes. Wrapping up this podcast, first and foremost, we got to thank our producer, our engineer, KP.
Thank you both so much. Thank you, Jawheads. I got to give it up to us. This was like a Sunday Sillies kind of episode, and I am here for it.
Me too.
Yeah, this was I love you both, and I love the Jawheads. Why wouldn't I be here?
Yeah. Hey, while we're at it, we should thank all the Jawheads on Patreon. Thank you. Thank you very much. We mean it. It means a lot to us. We had a meeting right before this recording, and we're talking about some new things for the patrons.
Totally.
That's not hyperbole. We really did. Don't want to say it because I don't want to jinx it.
Right.
But we're going to do something.
Yeah. Working on some things. Usually you're the cat out of the bag and you say something, but we're working on some stuff.
I've learned a thing or two in my old age, right?
Take some time. But yes, if you want to join us over there, it's patreon.com/cinemajaw.
Do it.
And it would mean the world to us. And the other way you can always support us, as we say, leaving us a review or a rating on any podcast app that you're listening to us always does help attract new listeners. So do that for us, Jawheads. We're on all the social medias. We're Cinemajaw on YouTube, on Twitter, anywhere you can find us. You can. I think we even have a TikTok. We might not be using it, but we're on TikTok, aren't we, Matt?
We're everywhere. Yeah. YouTube, you name it.
Yes. If you want to see my current reviews on Letterboxd, it's an app that is great to log your films with. I'm Rye the Movie Guy there. So you can find us online everywhere. It's great.
It is a wonderful thing.
Until next week, I'm Rye the Movie Guy.
And I'm Matt Kay.
And keep on jawing about the movies.